Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Revlo Show. We welcome us back, I guess. My name is Filo. We got Mike back in the house.
Yo.
We have a special guest with, we got Dave. We have special guest
What's up,
Rory
Dave?
with us today. What's up, Rory? You guys all know Rory.
Forget about me. Rory's here.
Yeah. Anyway, Rory today
Yes.
is here. He's been working on a project for how long now?
Well, we first
Yeah.
worked on it together in late December, but I had even kind of started on it a little before then.
Right. So we've been working on a special project for a good friend of ours who passed away. Y'all know him, Rev. And this project was an idea that, because I know you told me that the project you were working on was an idea he had before.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it wasn't an idea, Rev. I don't want to make it sound like me and Rev had this dream to make
Right.
the movie. It's not like that at all. But so, Rev, I mean, I guess people who watch this would know, we name drop on here a lot, but Rev came over to my house to get tattoos every now and then from Jenny. I'm not a tattoo artist. He came by a few months before he passed, and I was getting back into filmmaking and video, and I ran a couple of things by him. One of the things was I wanted to do sort of like a 10-minute Rev and Filo sort of promotional video. And he liked that idea, but the idea he liked more was for me to come over and film a few episodes of the podcast. That's really what he wanted me to
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I misunderstood. When you came to me about the idea of what you wanted to do, I was under the impression he was already like, we got to do a documentary on the Filo
Well,
show.
like I said, he liked it, but he the more immediate thing was he wanted me to come shoot the podcast.
Oh, okay.
And we'll get to the documentary at a later time. But then when he passed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So
Right.
And
That's
So
how it came to be.
So when he came to you about filming the podcast, he wanted you to help us film the podcast, or
well, I was pitching ideas to him because I was trying to think of projects that I wanted to do, and I wanted to, since I was just kind of getting back in, I wanted to work with phones. I just wanted to use phones at first, and so one of the things I thought of was to work with you guys because I had seen a few episodes of the podcast, and I knew
Right.
it was just you and Rev doing everything at first.
Yeah.
So I just told him, hey, don't worry about the video. I'll come over. I'll set everything up. If you guys like what I did, then you can just copy it. And that's really what he wanted me to do. But
Yeah.
just never got to it.
Yeah, honestly, dude. I mean, you can still do that
Yeah,
now.
no,
I would love that.
After this,
Hell yeah.
after this, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
After the movie's done, we'll talk.
All right. So let's get a little bit of background. So you say you did filmmaking. How long have you been doing filmmaking?
Oh man, so I guess everybody knows I'm old as fuck.
I couldn't tell.
But I started way back when, I don't even know if you guys know what VHS is anymore.
Shut up. Yeah, I kind of remember.
It's like that tablet when people used to chisel stuff on.
So when I was a kid, I really wanted to be an animator, but then you look
shit.
into that and you find out what that really means.
It's tedious as fuck.
Yeah, and because I love Disney and Warner Brothers, even up until my early 20s, I was still watching Kids WB. I loved the
Hell
DC
yeah.
stuff, the
Yeah.
Warner Brothers stuff.
Justice League.
But once I realized what animation really was, I kind of switched. Oh, what I really want to do is direct, because I realized.
Yep.
Right.
But I was a kid. I didn't know. You think when you come to LA, they're passing out, contracts at the airport,
Yeah.
kind of thing. I had misconceptions about what it's like out here and everything. But anyway, so I got into the filmmaking. I was doing that a lot on VHS because that's all we had. You had to bounce from the VHS
To the mini VHS. Right?
to a camcorder or something like that. So right away, you lost a generation. It was horrible.
Wow. So you would record on a camcorder, and then bounce it.
So you record on a camcorder, you take what you recorded, pop that in a VCR, run that back to the camcorder, you'd have a blank cassette in the camcorder, and that was your editing
Transfer.
machine.
Shit.
Oh.
Your source was the VCR, and your first cut was a generation loss. Like, you guys have no idea how good you have.
Editing.
Oh,
yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola, if you know who he is, he directed Godfather.
Yeah.
He predicted in the 70s, and I don't know how he knew this, but he said one day kids will be walking around with the movie studio in their pocket. And we're here now. We're here.
He was from
Shit,
the future,
man.
right?
Yeah.
Before Coppola was a time traveler. is what
Yeah,
we're
I
saying.
mean, you can literally get Adobe. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not as heavy as it is on the laptop for the computer software.
intricate.
But you can have an Adobe like it's called Rush, and you can edit right on your cell phone. Like you can record video
Fuck.
and just start cutting and pasting and editing shit right from there. It's crazy. So yeah, fuck.
Even now compared to a few years ago, because I was editing on an older Mac tower that I had, and it kind of got outdated, and so I skipped maybe like 5 generations, like 5 years of Final Cut. That's when I used Final Cut Pro to edit on. And when I came back to it, even just in those 5 years, it was a completely different program. It's unbelievable how the technology is. Like, you can press a button and it makes the whole movie for you. Dude.
Right.
Damn.
Not really.
And then sometimes it's the other way around, right? We're like, okay, these controls are so convoluted.
That too. Sometimes they try to make it so easy, they make it more complicated.
Yeah.
That's what they did with the
More
latest
often
Final
than not,
Cut.
that's how it goes.
Well, I don't know. I tried using Final Cut. It's so difficult.
It's
to use.
whack.
Yeah. That's why I just use Adobe. I'm like, fuck it.
I can't do the subscription thing, man. I'm not the type to commit to a subscription.
Yeah.
Well, Rev and I were explaining that. Now I'm just used to it. I tried using free softwares, and I'm so used to Adobe. I have to pay for it. It's just.
I got a question. Where are you originally from, Rory?
I'm originally from New Orleans.
New Orleans. I was gonna say Louisiana. I forgot.
But I grew up around different areas in the South. I lived in Mississippi. I lived in Florida. All the most classic racist areas.
You were about to cut me off. I was about to say nice.
And out of your favorite of those places?
Yeah.
Out of those which ones are your favorite of those places?
Rank them.
Every place I've been has its good and bad. Like there's great stuff about all those places.
And so, what had you? What? So you were filmmaking in Nolens?
So I was a kid.
No.
So by this time I was
Louisiana.
probably living mostly in Mississippi. Like, I don't know how much I want to go get into personal life, but I had
I know, tell us your life.
but my dad and mom had joint custody. So sometimes I would be in New Orleans, sometimes I'd be in Mississippi, and there were two different worlds. So that's kind of why I'm I'm right and left. I'm on both sides.
The bayou.
I grew up both sides. But anyway, yeah, so I was screwing around with my friends, making films, like I said, the way I explained it earlier. And then I knew I wanted to leave at some point. It was a small town. I didn't really fit in. Most people just stay there. Nobody talks about leaving or thinks about leaving. It's gonna,
Small town blues.
I had to get out, and I knew when I was 18 I was gonna go somewhere. I actually waited a couple more years. I was about 20 when I convinced a friend to jump in the car and come out here and split expenses with me.
Jeez.
I had it's the classic story. I had about $1,000 in my pocket, came out here. I'm still here 20 years later.
What happened to the friend?
He's still out here.
Oh, that's
Nice.
dope.
That's
That's what I like to hear.
Out here.
Yeah.
Well,
That's dope.
in a way, it's a better life. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he would have done if he would have stayed there, but he probably has a better life here than he would.
What would you have done? Do you have any idea?
Well, I wonder what I would have done. Like when Hurricane Katrina hit, I was
Oh,
like, would I have
shit.
been?
2005.
I would have been one of the ones going, I'm not leaving. I wonder what
true,
would
right?
have happened to me if I would have stayed.
That's
But,
2005, right?
there's not a lot of good stuff to
2004
get
maybe?
into down there.
Yeah.
Well, now you're over here.
Now you're in sunny.
Well, hold on, take it back. There is good stuff,
Yeah.
like four-wheeler riding. The fact
yeah.
that there's swimming and
Yeah.
oceans and creeks and
Yep.
rivers everywhere.
It's
You're
not
closer
Florida.
to nature.
That's right.
But
Definitely.
politics, that sort of thing,
Riverboats.
Doesn't matter what they do, that's always going to be
Fan boats.
Fan boats.
Some point.
Fan boats.
Always wanted to go.
Gators.
Gator.
Yeah, gators are awesome.
They're delicious.
Gators are awesome.
Cheers
All
to
right,
Gators.
cool. So you
Damn.
came down here. I know you were in you have worked like in at like movies, background stuff. Right?
So one thing when you get off the bus, I didn't come on a bus, but
For the sake of the story, you did just get dropped off the bus.
I was a young ingenue.
On
No.
Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah,
got
so
dropped
one of
off.
the first things you find out is
Trail of
there's
smoke,
this
exhaust.
thing called background extra work, and anybody can do it, and it's easy money. And I even still do it every now and then. If times are slow at the MC, I'll go do a few extra work jobs because it's
Hey,
just
nice.
it's one of those perfect, like, there's no schedule, like it's
Right.
your schedule.
Yeah.
So I do that from now. I did it a lot when I first moved out here. Speaking of that, and Chris, so you guys know a show called Freaks and Geeks. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna try and bring that up
It's
later.
Judd Apatow's like first big thing that
His
he
TV show.
did. All those people got their start. Seth Rogen, James Franco, who's now been Me Too'd.
Well, that's right.
But anyway, all those guys
More
got
to
their
come.
start on that show. At the time, I didn't know what the show was. It was just I was young. I kind of looked jockey. They
Yeah.
cast me as a jock on the show. So I ended up, and look, man, I don't want to be an actor. That's the last thing I want.
But you can't act.
No, I can't act.
Okay, that's fine.
So when I'm on the set, I try to hide. Like, I'm just there for the money. And the funny
That's
thing
pretty
is,
smart. I
the
like
funny
that.
thing is, there's people there who they think they're the next.
They're trying to be out there.
Oh, I'm out there. And so since I'm hiding, they're all like, you. So I ended up getting put on camera all the time. So that's what
yeah.
happened on Freaks and Geeks. And then it ended up being kind of like a recurring background role where I was
Nice.
just shocked. So early on, when I was getting to know Chris Don, we had only had a few conversations. He came up to me and he was like, hey, man, you ever see this show Freaks and Geeks? And I'm like, yeah, man, you saw me, huh? Yeah, he's like, man, that was you? Yeah, so that was kind of one of the first big
So
conversations
he just
I
thought it
had.
was someone that looked like you.
He knew it was me. And
Oh, he knew something.
He knew it was me. He brought it up to me at work. He's the only person I've ever met that just saw it and then came and said, hey, I saw you on there.
That's funny.
That was one of the first
And
things. me and
you didn't have any lines, or did you have lines in the show?
I went, ooh. That was my line.
Because I remember
That's a good
rewatching
line.
it after too that I found out, and I was like, yeah, that's fucking Rory. Holy shit.
So I used to get cast as jocks on all those teen shows. 20 years later, I get cast as cops. Cops and firemen. And the funny thing was, all the jocks from my school became cops later on.
Oh shit!
So through an extension, you became a cop too.
That's the role.
And I'm the most non-jock, non-cop person. Like,
Okay. Before we get on to what we actually came here for, I do want to talk about. You were talking. I remember before you couldn't talk about this. Can you talk about Space Jam now?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we signed an NDA, but we can talk about it now because it was just so you won't spoil the plot. Now everybody's
Yeah.
seen it.
You're a cop that gets sucked into the internet.
I'm a paramedic, so another one of those same.
I thought you were a
types of
cop.
things.
I thought you were a cop.
It looks copy.
Yeah.
It looks copy, but you didn't see my paramedic bag, guys.
You should have been just clutching the paramedic bag.
So 2019, it was dead at the EMC. There was nothing for months. I didn't
Yeah.
know what I was going to do. I was kind of panicking. So
right.
I was like, they usually don't even do extra work during the summer, but I was like, I'll sign up, see what happens, because otherwise you have to go find a job and quit a job before the
Right.
EMC comes back. So
Sure.
I filled out, I went to the little casting agency thing, filled out my availability, and I just put open availability all summer. So a few weeks later, I get a text saying, you're booked 3 months on Space Jam 2. I didn't even know they were
Damn.
starting Space
Yeah.
Jam 2. I had heard about it over the years and rumors about it, but it was always in development hell, like they say.
Yeah.
So I get this thing. I'm like, is this real? So I'm like, cool. That solves my whole summer.
Right.
And then a week later, I'm reading the trades and I see director of Space Jam 2 quits. So I'm like, all right, there goes my job,
Right.
But they brought on somebody real quick and they restarted the production.
Has
swapped
that
it
happened before, like where a director quits on a job? And
It hasn't
that's
happened to
and then
me.
it's just gone?
It hasn't happened to me. Well, it happened to a lot of projects before COVID, but
Yeah.
that's because of COVID. But on a normal time, nah. That kind of thing's rare. They'll throw a new director on. Because once you're that far into production, there's no
you have to
stopping
kinda get it
They
done.
had already started animation and
Yeah.
you name it. But
So how was your time?
all right, so most time for extra work, you're getting up really early in the morning. I'm not a morning guy. I had to readjust to this. The call time's usually like 4:30. So we went to Warner Brothers every morning. There was a lot of extras. This was one of the biggest crowd of extras I've ever worked with. We were all in costume. Half of us were like civil servant type people, like you see in
Yeah.
you've seen
Yeah.
the movie. And then the other half were like cosplay Warner Brothers people,
Aw, damn.
characters. And so we're all day like, oh, that's so and so. There's still characters in the movie that I haven't seen anybody
Right.
point out yet.
Oh shit! Okay.
The Fratellis are there from the Goonies.
Oh damn.
The mobsters from Goodfellas are there in the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of people that no one's seen yet that I
Yeah.
know was there because I saw them every day.
Not just the Game of Thrones characters and the Droogs from
Right.
Clockwork Orange.
Right. So they throw you on a bus. They bring you into WB. Every day we went to WB. It was one of their
Nice.
biggest sound stages, and literally every day. So the first day I walk in, it's a giant green room. All right,
Yeah.
giant
Yeah,
green
shit.
room, and there's all these WB characters walking around. So the first day or two,
Nice.
I'm like Hollywood magic.
This
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is why you come here to see stuff like this. By the third day, we were all in like this fever dream. Like, I was dreaming about multiple penguins and jokers at night. Like, it got weird. It got weird.
Nice.
Damn.
It's kind of like that scene in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back where like they're on the Miramax set and like the Reservoir Dogs come walking by.
So
It's exactly like that.
So in movies, when they're on a backlot, you see all these cowboys. Like, it's never like that. But for Space Jam,
that
it
day.
was like that.
funny. That's
Everything
dope.
Only
you
time
can
you're ever gonna get
imagine
that
out
shit,
there.
dude.
My cousin's she's an actress too, and she recommended because before I tore my shit, she recommended because I wanted to do backstage stuff, and she recommended this thing called Backstage. Is that where you get your information from?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Like I said, most people doing that really want to be actors, and they think they're going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, this thing required me to pay like a subscription.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
some of them
To
do.
get because they send me work.
Oh,
That's-
shit,
and I
yeah,
have
yeah.
to call.
It's like a temp agency or
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
So I got Space Jam through something like that. They call it a calling service. You can hustle and get the jobs yourself, pretty easy. But
Organically,
I don't
yeah.
like being on the phone all day. I'm not a networker.
Yeah.
I'd rather just pay the little fee and have them book me.
Yeah.
So that's how I got Space Jam.
Damn.
That's
And
cool.
I'm still getting contacted a lot, but honestly, maybe I shouldn't say that in case the feds watch this and
Yeah.
collecting unemployment. They still contact me, but extra work's bad as it is sometimes, and to be there all day with COVID and mask rules would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
Not to mention like
that. Yeah.
be the other side of the ones that have to be in hair and makeup the whole fucking time.
Yeah, man.
Do you think they get paid extra? It's the same shit.
well,
I
the
think
guys
so.
who were doing the so-called like Warner Brothers characters, they were in heavy hair and makeup, and they were treated better than us because they were making
well,
a
yeah,
bit more money.
they had to suffer.
Yeah, they got to go to the air-conditioned room. We didn't get to do that.
Oh.
This was the heat of
Well,
the
they
summer.
were dying.
man.
Yeah, they
Heat
were
of the
dying
summer.
from like layers of like prosthetics.
So they had you in a
Makeup.
big ass like studio, right? Sound room or whatever. What do they call it?
Soundstage.
Soundstage. Everybody was in there, including LeBron.
So here's why I thought it was kind of inefficient the way they were shooting it. You would think they would set up the extras and then shoot every shot that's against that background, right?
Right.
Instead, for every shot,
Swap
everybody
them?
out, everybody
Yeah.
back in. I'm like, this isn't how you do
It's
it,
not
man.
efficient as.
But anyway, so yeah, LeBron was there. All the extras were there. LeBron was there, and then they had people. It was WNBA people in green doing the green
Right.
motion capture suits as the whatever they call
yeah,
it, the bad
Monstars.
guys.
Monster.
The
Is that
Goon
what they call
Squad
it?
or whatever.
Goon
it is.
Squad, yeah.
Dame Lillard.
The first movie
Hey,
was the
didn't we talk
Monstars.
about this? We guessed who we were gonna
Oh yeah, we were guessing.
Do you still have that?
I don't have the list, but
We did this like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
where
we
we
were trying to
guessed
guess.
which NBA stars were going to be
In the new
the
Space Jam?
Monsters.
Yeah.
And you guess some
You
of
got
them?
AD.
I
I'm
don't
sure
remember.
one of us guessed Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
One of us guessed Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
Somebody I know I guessed Steph Curry. But
I would have guessed AD because he's practically.
He's in there
But,
too.
but they
It's like-
weren't even on the set. It was all females in the
Oh.
motion capture suits. So
Okay.
they might have done some motion capture and voice work, but I
Yeah,
know for all
afterwards.
the heavy,
Oh,
it
shit,
was
no
just
way.
LeBron against them. And they would play during breaks, and those girls would beat LeBron. It was,
Really?
Yeah, a lot.
Nice.
Oh, that's
He probably wasn't going all out though.
You
Yeah,
think he
no,
wants
it was-
a whole stadium of people to see him get
Wait, so
beat?
they allowed you guys to watch.
Oh hell yeah! Because we would
Nice.
just go on breaks, and instead of like moving everybody in and out again,
Yeah.
sometimes they were smart and they would just keep us all there.
Yeah.
And and LeBron would play, or
Nice. Keep his body active.
Yeah, it was
Dunking
cool.
threes.
So what do you
Dunking threes. You know.
what do you think of LeBron's acting? I mean, you
Well-
saw it live. I'm sure. How many
Well,
cuts did he take?
I mean, we all
So-
saw the movie.
Yeah.
So when we were
Yeah.
shooting
I can
it,
tell
we
you.
were all kind of laughing. There was this one line. I think it was "I don't know." He had to say "I don't know," and he said it. "I don't know," and the director said one more time with emotion, and he went "I don't know," and he said, "All right, say it one more time, angry." "I don't know." He said it the exact same way like 6 times, and the extras started like. But I have to say, I did like his presence a little more than Jordan. Jordan seems a little like sleepy and tired, and
Right.
kind of.
Yeah.
LeBron at least tried, It seemed
Yeah.
like,
LeBron seems like a decent actor. Like if he's dedicated to like the craft and shit like that.
Nah.
No. Like he's been in multiple movies though now.
Yeah. He
You think
often
he'd pick something up?
Yeah, he often gets praised for like his little acting skills.
His subtle acting
Little-
skill, I guess.
because
like,
most
minimal.
sports guys,
Yeah.
especially basketball players,
He's LeBron James first, actor
Oh
second.
my god.
LeBron James, the actor.
No one ever calls
You mean
him
LeBron James, the actor?
Yeah, I imagine.
Anyway, so did you enjoy your time there? Was
man, it got-
horrible? Was-
you go through a thing. Like I said in the beginning, it was magical. A weekend, I was like, how am I gonna do this?
We're on the back lot.
How am I gonna go? How am I gonna go 3 months? That's what I was thinking. The second weekend. Yeah, I'll take. Yeah.
How much was the pay? Mind if I ask?
Well, we'll get to that. Wait, what did you just ask me?
Do you want
No, the question I was answering.
Oh, okay. So, how did you enjoy it? Like, did it?
First week great. Second week, I was wondering how I was gonna do it, and then you kind of accept it and settle in, and you start to make friends with people on the set.
Right.
I don't try to do that.
Yeah.
But somebody always is like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, all right, let's talk.
Did you see I was reading a book? Goddamn it.
So what do you think we're gonna do next?
Headphones on. Someone still comes up to you.
Well, that's dope. Did you watch it as soon as it came out? Were you excited when it came out?
All right, so when we were shooting it, I was one of the negative people going, this movie's not coming out.
Yeah.
This movie sucks. There's
gonna get
no
scrapped.
way this movie's coming out. Because I was watching how they were shooting. I was watching some of the... I didn't think they would ever make any sense of it. And if you saw the movie and saw the
Still
big
doesn't
game,
make
it
any
doesn't
sense.
make any sense. They were just
Yeah.
slapping shots together.
I'm glad. I'm finally able to talk on how bad
It's
it
funny
was.
because I
It's a
can't
kids'
even-
movie,
I
though.
can't even get through it, dude. I can't.
Well, okay, so...
I didn't finish it.
So
I did, 'cause I
it
had
came out HBO Max. I tried to stay up. I did edibles that day. I was all
Nice.
ready, man. But they started getting to me, and I was like falling asleep when I started watching it. And because the movie wasn't great, I really
No, it
started
wasn't.
falling.
Yeah, let's talk about Suicide Squad.
Well, someone didn't see it.
I do want to defend Space Jam 2 a little bit though.
Me too.
Because I ended up going back and rewatching it, and there's a couple of gags that I actually laughed with the movie on, not at the movie.
Oh, okay.
And one of them I don't think many people got, but it's when Granny says "game blouses."
Oh,
I
yeah.
cracked up on that, man. Like, I can't believe they made a reference to that. And the other one was
That's
when LeBron goes, "The computer's black." I cracked up laughing at that. I thought that was hilarious.
You know what?
Yeah.
I have to agree with you.
There's
When
solid jokes, but
When I watched it,
still.
it took me 3 times. I still didn't even get through it.
Yeah.
So what happened was I watched
You
it.
still didn't get through.
Yeah, and I fell asleep, and I woke up when the characters were kind of getting like riled up. You know,
Yeah,
they were like creating
corralled.
up the team, and then I was like, oh shit, that looks good. I turned it off, turned it back on.
Yeah.
The next day,
They
took it
switch
back
animation.
to I started it right when they started going to collect the characters. After that happened, I started falling asleep again. Then I woke up when the game was
Yeah.
going on, and I was like, all right, this looks cool. So I literally skipped from the
You're
beginning,
dozing on it.
yeah, to where they collected the characters to the game.
You summed up the whole movie
And-
in a nap.
Yeah, and the only reason why I stood during the game
Yeah.
was because I was trying to find Rory, and eventually I
Yeah,
found him. I was like,
nice.
there he is.
No way.
Click off.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, done.
So
Like a piece of
after
food.
the 3 months of work, I had one clear shot in the movie. Now,
Yeah.
I saw myself a lot because I know where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it ends up being, man.
That's funny.
I think the movie
That's
died for
cool.
me when Porky Pig started freestyle
Okay,
battle rap.
so now that you bring that up, LeBron was doing the actual shooting. Like, I think it was supposed to be LeBron, but he was so bad they
Yeah.
gave it to Porky Pig.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
He lost
fuck, that's
to a
hilarious.
That's
character.
funny.
But the other
You mean
thing,
LeBron James the rapper?
the other thing I'll say about LeBron is,
former actor, rapper.
no matter what your opinion is about LeBron, he is who he is. Like when
Yeah.
he's on set, he is the guy. you
He's a
think he
presence.
is. He's that guy. He does the whole Taco Tuesday thing every Tuesday.
That's right. It's not just a gimmick.
No way.
It's not a gimmick.
It's not just a game.
So he fed
is
you guys
LeBron.
on
No.
Tuesdays? Tacos?
It was always
Maybe.
tacos, and he would always come through going Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what's up.
What?
So he'd be like a chill
that was a
boss, or he'd be a
gag.
bad. I think he'd be if LeBron James was a boss, he'd be like one that's like no nonsense until it was time to party.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I hate to insult LeBron. He's not a genius, I guess you say. I hope he never sees this. But
Look directly into the camera and
but,
say, LeBron James, you're not. a
at
genius."
one point, and I don't know what prompted this, but he just decided to give this speech to the whole. Everybody was in there.
like a pep talk.
No,
not even the last day.
about his life and his life struggle and how he went from nothing to starring in a movie, and he had the whole place crying. Like we were all,
Really?
yeah.
Ah.
I talked about his struggles from Akron, Ohio, and then, playing high school there, and then making it to college. And
I mean, you think this guy, when he was in junior high, ever thought he'd be starring in a Warner Brothers movie?
Imagine
Yeah.
if Guap was there, because Guap is one of the biggest.
Yeah, LeBron fans. That's true,
Annoying.
That's true, dude.
Yeah, one of the biggest, annoyingest
That's annoying.
LeBron fans ever. Guap, and I know you're gonna watch this.
Yeah, you are.
yeah,
It's
you're fucking-
annoying.
But I could only
All the
imagine
time.
he would have gave anything to
be on the
there.
set.
Yeah,
Just to be in the same floor, stepping on the same ground as LeBron.
for Taco
For
Tuesdays.
Taco fucking Tuesday.
I was real happy that I got the job, man. And to answer what you were saying earlier, so one of the struggles that people have doing this is there's union and non-union.
Oh,
Everybody's
shit.
trying to become union.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
the fight because you get paid way more.
That's the big bucks. Is
I was
union.
non-union, but on a shoot like Space Jam, you get so many bumps, overtime.
Yeah.
All these days were 14, 15, 16-hour days.
Shit.
And you know how it goes, time and a half to double time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then it gets to a thing called golden time where you get your pay every hour. The whole day's pay every
Shit.
hour. So sometimes
Golden hour.
I think once we hit golden time on that shoot, and we got, for every hour that we stayed, we got the whole day pay. So it ended
Damn.
up paying off, and you get the checks in the mail. So once they start coming in, I was getting checks every day.
Yeah, let's be extras. Dude.
Yeah, I know. Huh,
Hey,
bro.
Mike, let's be extras.
I want to,
Dude,
man.
Injured
No,
man
I
number
want
5.
to.
Injured
I
man.
want to be I want to be something like John Hurt, who just like dies like constantly or something.
In
like
every
that.
movie.
Like every movie,
I
yeah.
don't know if I was
That'd be
in the
so
background.
dope.
I guess I'd just be like that fat friend that just agrees to
Yeah,
everything.
I'd be in a bar.
Bar,
guy.
yeah, like
the
that
bar guys,
background
like,
bar, or like in a stadium or
Yeah.
something.
Construction
you know,
worker one,
crowd.
construction worker two.
Construction worker.
But I think I'd have a problem. Like I'll look at the camera once in a while.
I know. You're right.
How did you do? Just like
Don't look at the actors. Don't look
don't
at
the
Ben.
talent.
Don't look at Ben.
Don't look at the talent. They don't want to
You know,
see
I've actually seen some movies. I can't tell you which ones exactly, but I've seen some movies where the background actors, you can see their faces when the like a big actor comes on set.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
just
like
look at
Tom
him,
Cruise or
yeah.
somebody like the walk, and you can see like in the background like. And they're like,
Look at him.
Yeah, do you have a lot of that, or do you? Have
There's
you
a
seen
weird dynamic on set. The extras are like the ushers. They're the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll come out. You know, they say don't meet your heroes. You'd be like, wow, I'm doing a Jim Carrey movie, you know.
Right.
And the
Extras are dirt.
The assistant director comes out and goes, don't look at Jim Carrey. Don't make eye contact with him. Don't talk to him. Don't touch him. Don't breathe near him. You know, so a lot of them are kind of like, they're stuck up like that. They don't
shit.
even want anybody.
Not Jim Carrey. Why'd you say Jim Carrey?
'Cause his publicist
Because he's
said-
one of the ones. Like, he's one of the,
Really?
He's one of the
I
ones
didn't
that's
say-
kind of, the extras kind of like know the dirt about
Stay away
who's
from
cool and who's
him.
not.
Okay.
Stay
Certain
away
people
from
are
Jim.
cool, certain people are not. Like,
Actually, I heard that
Jim
about
Carrey.
what is it, Michael Cera? What's his name?
he's a dick in real life.
Yeah, I
I've
heard
that
like
too.
he's really difficult.
I've
to
heard
work
that too.
Superbad sucks anyway. I'm just playing. I love
Oh,
Superbad.
And then some people are
We
just
don't
down
say
to
that.
earth as can be, man. You'll be surprised at
I bet.
the down to earth ones.
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, the one that I think is just a national treasure actor is
Danny DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. Dude. He's so fucking. Nice.
So you guys remember when he did Sunshine Boys?
Yeah,
at
that's
Amazon?
actually
So
what
I
I'm
watched Sunshine Boys like 5 or 6 times. I used
Yeah.
to always sit in and watch
It's a
the
great
shows.
show. Yeah.
And I was outside the box office at the Disney one night, and he came to see a show. I usually don't talk to celebs, man, but he came and asked me something, and I was like, hey, I watched Sunshine Boys like 6 times, man. I loved it. And he gave me this big hug.
That's so dope.
Jeff Goldblum's nice too.
Fucking
dude.
Frank Graham.
Jeff
Jeff
Goldblum.
Goldblum, yeah.
That's right. He had a show there as well.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet him, but did you?
Yeah, I sat him. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So,
There's a
thank
few
you.
people. Who else was?
They're
who
nice
did I
people.
meet? Steven Spielberg was cool.
Tom Hanks.
I never met Tom Hanks.
Me either.
Billy Crystal was. I just weirded him out. I think. I don't know. I don't know why. he
Mike
came on
was
stage.
he was
Yeah,
saying that the whole time.
He asked me. He actually. Here's what happened. He asked me where the parking garage was. Like, what was the easiest way to get there? It was in the Taper. Taper's very small.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me. I'm at door 1, and we're like barely gonna see. I guess he just wanted to know the quickest way out as soon as the show's done. And
But now you're taking a rush of people.
yeah, dude. And then like
Told him to fucking wait.
I'm not even looking. I just hear the voice. I'm like, damn, I recognize that voice. And I look up and I'm like, oh shit, it's Billy Crystal. You know, in my head, I was like, and he's like, what's the best? And I'm not even a fan of Billy Crystal. Like it just,
You know his
You never
voice,
seen
you know
analyze
his
this?
voice.
I've seen it, but like, you know, he's not somebody I'm like, oh shit, Billy Crystal.
But then you know it.
Yeah.
You know it's him.
Yeah, so he asked me, so I like just got like dumbstruck, dude. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, he goes, do you know where the parking garage is? You know, the easiest way. And I was like, yeah, it's right out there. He's like, yeah, but we're out there. And I was like, you make a left, go, just get
He
downstairs.
caught you off guard.
Yeah, dude. And he comes up, he's like, all right, I'm not sure if it's your first day, but thanks, man. And he
Damn.
walked away.
That is.
He had to make jokes.
Yeah. Dude, and then he leaves, and I'm standing there, and an usher comes up to me like, "What happened?" I'm like, because I guess I still had that stupid face on.
Did you tell him I failed Billy Crystal?
Dude, yeah, I was like, damn, I feel like I just failed on Billy Crystal, and I don't even know why. I don't even like him that much.
I couldn't name you 5 movies.
I mean, I
know
had
people that could.
the same experience as you. You get starstruck by people you don't expect. Like you see some of the biggest celebrities ever at the music.
That's very
I've
true,
probably seen
actually.
bigger celebs at the music center than I have doing extra
set.
work.
Oh, no shit.
And
Katy Perry caught me checking her out during intermission, and she smiled. She kind of smiled. I was in a stuck. I was in kind of a trance. She was at the table one day. She looks fine as hell.
You got to give it to her, right? Yeah. She looks fine now.
You got to give it to Katy Perry.
Give her the compliment as well.
I probably shouldn't speak on Orlando while he's not here, but he was creeping on Mina Suvari one day. I had to pull him off. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know who she is. She
That
was in
sounds
American
familiar.
Pie and American
Yeah, the
Beauty.
blonde
She's the blonde girl.
I was there in front
Oh,
of you.
she's so
We were
fun.
doing the same-
Orlando. Oh, watch. I'm gonna
I've
tell
never
her.
seen her
I'm like,
pavilion.
no, don't go over there.
He's like, I'm a groper.
Choir
Don't
chick,
groper.
choir chick,
Choir chick.
choir chick. I remember seeing her at the pavilion. I was essaying in
That was
front.
it.
That was it. Right, it was us three then.
You know who's nice too? Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler.
Oh yeah,
I saw him at the
At the tape-
Amundsen.
dude, I had a weird experience with Henry Winkler. I don't know. I don't know if he's all
say?
What kind of
there.
weird experience?
He's
to be
from
honest-
Language of Peace.
I don't know if he was on fucking Quaaludes or I don't know what the fuck was wrong with
He's
him.
That's the
chummy as fuck.
Fonz, man.
Yeah, dude, like he was.
He was on Fonzarelli.
He's so it was at the Disney in the what is it, the founders area, the door 2.
Yeah.
And you know, there's like a hallway before you get to seating area. They're at intermission. He's like, and I'm at the door.
Sweating bullets.
Yeah, so I'm at the door to make sure people like know where they're going, whatever. And I see him, and I look over, and there's like a man that just keeps like it was almost like he was like a
Nervous?
CPU, like
Oh,
just,
like NPC in a
yeah, like he was just walking back and forth like towards the wall, and then
Yes.
walking forward. And I look
My
over,
man.
My man.
Yes.
and then I go, "Sir, are you okay?
Yeah, he's pacing,
Yeah,
he's
and then
pacing.
he was like, and he just looks at me. Swear to God, he looks at me like this. Where's the restroom? And I was like, right outside, sir. And he was like, okay. And he still faced the wall. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, sir, do you need some help to get He's like, yeah, you mind taking me there? I was like, okay.
He probably mixed medication.
Yeah, dude. And I
Holy
took
shit.
him and I walked him to the restroom. I was like, you gonna be all right, man? And then he goes, yeah, thanks, man. And then he just like walked really slow, but his hands to the side, just like, and walked
Dude.
in the restroom. And I was like,
How old is he now?
Fonzie
Like
through and
80s,
through.
90s?
He's up there now.
Yeah.
He's up
yeah,
there
dude.
now.
And it actually made me very concerned.
Yeah,
so when
no,
he came
definitely.
back, I was like, "You okay, man? You need water? Is there
Yeah.
anything?" He's like, "No, I'm okay." And he just walked.
That was Fonzie as fuck.
Yeah, dude. I was like, "What the fuck?"
He was
is
tripping out on mescaline.
wrong? I had no idea. I'm still tripped out by that to this
God
day.
bless him though. He's nice, nice man.
Yeah,
Nice old man.
But yeah, cool. I mean, shit. Good
Yeah,
MC.
that's true.
You see weird.
You see a
shit.
lot of good
Didn't you
celebrities.
meet Charlie Day?
Yeah, at the
Yeah.
Walt Disney concert.
Didn't he
Some-
leave his wife to like see you?
Yeah, I yelled at him and I was a big fan, and he ran over and shook my
Damn.
hand.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
damn, that's what's
Lucky ass.
That's funny because a few months before that, while I was doing essay in front of the Disney, his wife comes up to me and asks for directions to the
nice,
to
the
the
waitress?
to the red carpet.
Yeah.
I mean, no, the red carpet, red cat.
The red cat, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She was with a friend.
Oh, shit.
So I had saw her and I complimented her on the show and the
Nice.
same thing too. So then
Hey.
later on I see Charlie Day. So that's pretty funny. 'Cause,
Nice.
yeah, crazy.
Celebrities, man. They're
I
just
s-
like us.
I saw it was one of the first celebrities I saw when I was at the Disney. I was in the 51 or 50. I forgot where the elevators are at, not the handicap one. But
R2?
the guy from The Office, the one who's with the Indian chick, the guy who sits in the
Oh,
back.
yeah, BJ.
I forget his name,
BJ Novak.
Oh, right.
but he was with the Indian girl in the TV show. So I see him
Ryan.
by the Brian by the
Mindy Kaling.
Yeah.
Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, he's with her. So I see him standing by the door where we go stuff inside the Walt Disney, and I'm staring hard because I'm like, is that him?
It's a guy.
And I'm like,
'cause it could be
yeah,
a guy
that's
that
like,
looks
yeah,
him,
I'm like,
right?
yeah, that's him. And because he wasn't looking my way, and then he just turns like all quickly,
Spider
and then
sense.
I was like, oh shit, and then I turned away, and he goes, sir. sir. And I was like, and I turned around, I was like, yes, can I help you? He was like, yeah. And then he starts quizzing me about the Walt Disney concert hall, like how many seats are here. And I was just like, I was stuttering. I did not know anything. He was like, all right, thank you for the information.
He just got finessed by Ryan.
He probably knew you were like struck by him, so he was like, I'm gonna see if this fool actually if he's there. Is he there?
Because guess what? I used to be an usher, and I knew everything.
There's two types of celebs you run into at the MC. There's the ones that don't want you to notice them, and the ones that they get mad if you don't notice them. Like they've had a couple like that where
that's horrible.
They were trying to get my attention, like, look at me, I'm a celeb.
Yeah, they get a little insulted when you treat them like humans.
Dude, like that chick from The Walking Dead, the one that had her sister, she had to kill her own sister. The blonde chick.
Yeah.
Dude,
spoilers.
You
haven't seen it? That's like season 2 or 3.
Don't even start watching that show because you never finish it.
Well, so she shows up
coming to an end
with an entourage, and they're like 5 minutes late.
What the fuck?
We can't seat anybody.
Entourage of people
get the
working
fuck
for her?
outta
Yeah, she had like 6 people with
So
her that were
posse.
there to watch the
You
show.
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So she gets there, and right away, we
Seating
tell her
hold.
like, "Sorry, seating hold."
Yeah.
She fucking flips, dude. She's like,
Damn.
"You know who the fuck I am? Like, I come on TV shows. I worked on projects, that are like, more important than this and this and that."
Really?
Yeah, dude. She went.
She
off.
must have been late for those too.
And dude, I was like, I'm sorry, we can't do anything. And she got into it with Jim. Even Jim, when he was the house manager there, he was like, no, sorry, we can't get you in.
Yeah,
Usually he accommodates.
He does, right?
But this was like, it was some kind of important. I think they were filming inside. They may have been filming. And yeah, dude, she threw like to the point where like she was like, well, fuck this, I'm gonna fucking leave. And then they just gave her free drinks, and then she calmed down.
Good.
She probably had an eat-in if it was in the morning too.
I had no. It was in the evening. It was in the evening.
That
but-
too. If someone has an evening,
I had a bad day.
Yeah, I don't know. She was tripping, and then the entourage was like, "Oh, like I can't believe they're treating her like this."
Yeah.
This and that.
she's never gotten this type of treatment before.
Anyway, moving on to what we're here. So,
Yes.
Roy, you've been working on a project. You filmed all. We've all been interviewed.
Yeah.
Tell us about the project, man. How long is it taking you? What are you doing? What does it entail?
All right, man. So we talked about it a little during the awkward first 10 minutes of the podcast. There's always that weird 10 minutes at the beginning. You guys mention it a lot on the podcast too.
Yeah, it's hard to break.
It's hard to break.
Yeah.
But so anyway, we talked about it a little bit, but like I said, I mentioned these things I wanted to do to Chris. I was trying to come up with little projects just to like dip my toe back into the whole like filmmaking thing because I'd been out for a few years. The last thing I did was training videos for the MC.
Oh yeah.
They paid us.
Nice.
Right.
Dave was in the. Maybe I'll put a clip of that in the movie.
Please don't.
Yeah.
No. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's good. I like the music. I like the.
Yeah. You know what? I saw that acting.
So-
It's my first gig.
So
Dave, the actor.
Technically, independent trailer film.
First paid gig. Sorry, I've done a bunch of independent, non-paid shit.
So I talked to Chris about that. That was maybe 3 or 4 months before he passed away. I obviously never saw him again. Never got to follow up on that. And I'd say about Chris, before I start really talking about this movie, I'm not looking for anybody's sympathy. Chris wasn't my best friend. That's you guys. You guys deserve. That's his family. I can't even imagine what they're going through. When Chris passed, it's a different experience for me because he was a guy from work. He's a guy I liked a lot from work. But it wasn't like we were super, super tight,
Right.
So when he passed, I was sad and all that. But for me, it's just a different experience. I went more into like an existential crisis of like, why Chris? Why not me? Why,
Yeah.
just that whole thing. Chris did so much before he passed. And I got to thinking like, I've done nothing. I've played video games a lot. I've got some good scores and stuff, but
That's a personal thing.
just what Chris did in the last 2. If you just look, and not counting everything he did before that,
Yeah.
if you just look at this last 2 years, he packed it all in.
Yeah.
All his opinions are out there. All his jokes are out there. All his music's out there.
Yep.
So, I started thinking about all that stuff, and then people started posting tributes to Chris. You finally said something. Jenna said something. Everybody was saying their little things. You know me. I'm not on social media, and that's really where it came from. I was like, I want to do something for Chris, but also for you too, because I probably started thinking about the podcast before you, like, because you were probably still sad, mourning.
Oh
and,
yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was about to just stop everything.
but like a day or two in, I was like, what about the podcast, man? Like, I don't want this to be for nothing. And it's not for nothing. Chris left you guys with this podcast, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, Chris isn't here now to promote himself. So it's kind of up to us to promote. You know, we all know Chris, but the bigger world doesn't know Chris. And I think Chris would want to be out there as much as possible. You know?
He loved the
just thinking of all those things, and I think Chris would be like, "Why isn't somebody making a movie about me?" So it was just all. It was just all those things. I was
something.
I could see that. Yeah.
I was getting back into the filmmaking. I was looking for a project, and it just all kind of. It became a thing that I couldn't stop thinking about, and that's the kind of projects I pursue. Like, this was for no other reason other than I felt really compelled to do it. Like, I'm not going to get anything out of this. This isn't, I don't think, the kind of thing that's going to make money or anything like that. This is just a passion project for me. I wanted to tell the story of the podcast. I wanted to tell a little bit about Chris. And by using the podcast, you can talk about Chris without getting into his whole life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest too. When you came to me with the idea, and I know you told me, you know, take your time.
Yeah.
You know, whenever I was kind of like, damn, why are we doing this? Just to myself, not more
I know, man. Like,
and it was like hard to. It took me a while to convince myself to like, yeah, you know what? Get the ball rolling.
I wasn't planning to pitch it to you when I did. For everybody who doesn't know, when Chris passed afterwards, we invited everybody to come to my apartment because, you know, back in the South, after, you know, the funeral, we always party. There's usually a lot of Popeye's fried chicken.
Hell yeah.
Biscuits, yeah.
So me and Jenna were talking. I was like, look, I know people are going to Chris's house afterwards, but let's just have our place open. If anybody wants to come.
That was only for a select few of people, too, though.
We could talk about Chris or just not talk about Chris, whatever, just unwind after this, what everybody's gone through. You know, he's in the ground now. Let's just, you know, whatever, kind of depressurize a little bit. So I had been drinking most of that day. You probably had been, too. I wasn't going to pitch it to you. But when you left, I was just like, I don't know. I'm just going to tell you. I was worried that it was too soon, that you wouldn't want to do it. But this project's also a timely thing. I knew if we didn't start it when we did, I would never do it.
Right.
And I also knew that by just letting me do it, I have enough distance from Chris in that situation to where I'm the right person to do this. Right. You wouldn't be able to make this move. Yeah. Even if you had all the technical skills in the world to do it, you wouldn't emotionally be able to sit down and make this move.
You know, and you're right, because when we did that last episode, after his last episode, so the very next episode 50, you know, the Reverend lived.
Yeah.
When we did that episode, man, just hearing, I recorded everybody's interview.
Yeah, and then at the end, it was your time to talk.
Yeah, and man, that shit was so difficult, dude.
And I finally watched that one, and I was moved by what you said, and that you did good, and that it was hard to watch too. You know, even just as an audience member, watching you say that. So I didn't want to put you through it. That's why I said take your time. But at the same time, if it took too long, I knew we would never do it. So, you know, I was glad when you finally came around to it. If you would have said at any point, I don't want to do this, I would have just been like, oh, well, we're not doing it. But I really thank you for letting me do it and for giving me all that access to everything.
No, yeah, man. I mean, you know, thank you for doing it. Like I said, it took me out of that funk, you know, because I was in sort of a weird headspace, you know, like I needed a lot of people to kind of tell me, like, yo, keep doing it. You know, I've said it before, you know, his uncle Nick, his uncle Mike, you know, he gave me some words like right when I was about to just say fuck it all, and he told me keep doing it. He's like, the family, you know, wants to give you a blessing, even, you know, if it means anything. Yeah. You know, we want to tell you keep going, and you know, so I heard that, and then you telling me like, yo, we should do this, and so it brought me out of that hole or funk that I was in, and I'm glad we did it. The interviews. Yeah, they were sad. Well, at least my interviews. I don't know about anybody else's, but my interview, I remember, like, it was fun remembering all that stuff, like, especially the beginning of the podcast, because it wasn't easy to get all this shit started. You know, we're a long ways from where we were at before, you know, in that hot-ass garage.
For real.
And, you know, technical difficulties. Now we're kind of just running it. And I'm happy we're able to get to where we're at right now. So thank you for kind of like moving.
Yeah, it's a good perspective shift and seeing where we've come.
And you know, every few months we have another thing to kind of celebrate Chris. Like we had his birthday.
That's
we
right.
just did another party at Ayana's.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
So this is just a way to keep it going a little longer. And, you know, once I'm done with this movie, I'm probably done with Rev and Filo for a while because I've been living Rev and Filo since December. Like,
But if you want to be back on, though.
No. But as far as making any more movies, you know, there's a million movies that could be made about Chris's life too. I just want to say, if anybody wants to make another movie about Chris, you can make a Sons of Jimmy movie. You can make anything. You know, Chris lived several lives in a way. You know, that you can make a movie about. This isn't going to get too deep into Chris's personal life. That's for somebody else to do.
The Rev.
Yeah. So, like, how did all the interview process go? 'Cause how many people did you get in?
So I got everybody who was on the original run, except for there was somebody Mike brought on once. I didn't interview that person.
Oh, Johnny.
Johnny, my cousin.
Yeah.
And by the time I interviewed Navarre, he wasn't with his partner anymore, so I didn't interview that guy. I didn't interview Tom Selleck, even though I was trying to work that one out. And those are the only ones I didn't
My
get.
cousin's only been around
Like
Chris a few times, so...
I tried. My original plan was to keep it people who were either on the podcast or very close to the podcast, because otherwise I'd be interviewing everybody. So I had to draw the line somewhere. And, you know, there is room for maybe another interview or two if the right person came along with the right story or the right angle. There may be somebody who has something that, you know, a story or an angle that I don't know about. You know, I'm still working on the movie, so things can still, you know, change.
Well, you're also still waiting on pictures and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that later, but, you know, if you see this trailer, you know, later in the podcast and you like what you see, you want to be a part of this, I'm not asking for money. I don't need money or anything like that. There's no GoFundMe page. But what I do really need is supplemental materials, so like pictures, videos, from the following category. Anything about Chris, anything about the podcast, anything about relating to the MC, anything in that field. Don't think you have something like, oh, he wouldn't use that. There's no telling what I would use. And like I said, one picture or video could even change the course of the movie. So I need those types of donations to finish this movie, basically.
And I'll throw up your email on there as well. I'll do it now. And
if you know Jenna, you can contact Jenna. If you know Filo, you can contact Filo. You know, he'll throw my email up at the end. But, you know, I need... you need those kind of things to tell the story. Otherwise, it's just interviews and podcasts. You're just cutting between interviews and podcasts. And you'll see when you see the trailer what I mean in the kind of thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah, man. And going back to the interviews, too, like when you set up that first, because I know there's a few different settings I'm in because, of, you know, during the process I was moving to different, you know.
And I don't know if you want to talk about it on air, but something happened that kind of stopped the movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
We ended up getting, well, we weren't even sure at the time, but Ashley was sick. You know, my brothers were sick in the house, so we were like, and, you know, obviously during the pandemic, the COVID. And I wasn't sure if it was COVID, and I hit up Rory and I was like, look, man, do you still want to do this? Everyone's sick in my house. I'm not sick yet. I go, but it could potentially be, you know, COVID. I don't know. Do you still want to come through? And he was like, yeah, we'll be fine. You know, we'll have some distance. And we were separated. Like we gave ourselves
more than 6 feet.
Yeah,
I wore a mask most of the time.
Yeah, and then a couple of days later, boom, I get hit with a positive. I hit him up. He's like, yeah, man, I'm positive too.
So my original plan was I had this schedule. I was contacting everybody. I had people set up. I was like, I'm gonna do all these interviews in 2 weeks or whatever it is. And then I'm going to spend the next few months cutting it. That was my original plan. And I was doing that. I was contacting everybody, trying to set them up. And you have to understand, this was before the big spike. We had gone through the whole year of COVID. Yeah. We didn't know anybody who had it at this point. So I started to feel a little bit like, we ain't
not real, yeah.
Not that it wasn't real, but just like, I think we're all right.
Yeah.
You know,
because there was talks about California maybe having it way before, like the outbreak and everything.
So to get Felipe completely off the hook, he warned me. It was my choice to go over there, knowing that he might have had COVID.
To contract.
Hey, but that's how much I believed in this movie.
Yeah.
So I went over there. I did it. Sure. And you know what? There's not 100% that it was you, because it was a spike at that time. I could have got it from anywhere, but it was likely you.
Yeah.
So I caught COVID. I had to cancel all the interviews that I had lined up. You know, so that's part of why we're here now in August, and I'm still working on it.
You know, and it's funny too, because like what pissed me off about contracting COVID that time was I had been home doing nothing. I was like, how the fuck did I get it? And then we realized that my brother started working at a warehouse. And I asked him, hey, when we got sick, was there, like, where you work, was there an area that maybe got shut down? Because they work in, like, groups, and every group, like, just to protect each other, every group gets shut down whenever there's an outbreak in his warehouse. And he said, yeah, there was an outbreak, like, about a week ago before we got sick. And I go, so what happened? Did they tell you guys? Or they're like, not really. They just shut down that section. And I was like, damn. So that's where we got it.
Yeah.
It had to be. It had to
The
be
new
that
point of
warehouse.
origin.
Yeah. Anyway, we're moving on.
I hated making those calls too. It's like telling somebody that you slept
cancel.
with that you had AIDS. It's like, I remember like texting Orlando and being like, "Oh God, I don't want to," because I was around Orlando after I was around you.
Yeah, it kind of is.
I had to call Orlando and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man, but
You should get tested.
you need to get tested."
ASAP.
Luckily, he didn't.
Should have wore that rubber, man.
Luckily, he didn't get it that time.
You need to get tested like yesterday.
I guess the first couple of days you're not contagious. I mean, that's the science. I'm not making that up.
Yeah. But anyway, so
What's your favorite French fry?
Oh, there you go.
We'll get to that. We'll get to the
That's
French
my
fries.
favorite.
Cool. So the movie, and like I said, when I saw you set up the interview thing, dude, man, like it was insane. Like when you showed me the video of the clips of me being interviewed, the lighting that you had on there, like. Rory, you're good at setting up.
Using anamorphic lenses and just having
one
the
thing I
lighting.
did even back in the VHS days was I knew I was shooting on crappy stuff with no lighting, but I had the mentality of this is a real movie.
Right.
So that's how I approach everything. Like I don't want to be too pretentious. I know what this is. This is a shot on cell phone movie about my friend's podcast.
Yeah.
But I still approached it like this ain't gonna be on Netflix, but I approached it like that. At least I tried to like take it seriously, make it cinematic. So.
Yeah,
Put your heart and soul into it. So
you did a
that's
great
the
job,
best we
dude.
get.
When you showed me pics of it too, I was stunned. I was stunned by how good it fucking looked. Like it looked really good. That I can't wait to see everyone else's. I know you showed Peter's. You gave him like a blue background. That was
Everybody has a little screen time in this. There's a couple of interviews I don't show. So there's a couple of people I interviewed. You don't speak in the trailer, but everybody has a little bit of screen time, so you'll get to see most of the interviews.
Sweet.
I'm not putting myself speaking in the trailer, even though I probably will be in the movie because I'm going to do a little interview myself since I was on the podcast.
Yeah.
Jenna's going to be in it. I'm trying not to be like nepotism over here.
Right.
So there's certain people I kind of didn't give them screen time.
I'm gonna ask a question, and I feel like I know who you're gonna say this
Answer.
is, but
me.
who gave you the
I did
most difficult time, like just getting the shot or trying to get a hold of them for the interview?
Well, I can't blame...
Don't name names. Without naming names.
We're all friends here. We all know each other.
Hold on. I'm not blaming anybody for anything. I'm one man, I've been in charge of this.
Let me rephrase the question. Who set you back the most?
If I had help, I could have avoided some of these things, but since it's just me, I can't blame anybody for anything that happened. There were certain interviews that took a while to set up, where people just kept going, we'll get to it. So that's another reason we're this far into the year, and I'm still working on it. So
No one's keeping score for you.
Yeah, I know. Why you trying to put someone on blast, man?
I'm just saying it's a funny story. At least if I think it's who it is.
There were...
Who do you think it is?
So, all right, so...
You want me to take a
so
guess? Can I take a
Dave,
guess?
so... but let me tell what I think happened.
I know what happened that day.
Let me say what I think happened, and then Dave can say whatever. So, he was fine. What he said in the interview, he gave me some good, funny stuff. But I think he was drunk because he had been with you guys all day. I could even smell it.
I remember that.
Yeah, we just did a podcast.
Yeah.
So this...
Don't remember.
So
anything.
there was a back and forth about the microphone, but it was a miscommunication. I don't think Dave was being belligerent on purpose. It wasn't like that. It was just when I'm doing the interview, I'm also nervous. So like sometimes the communication's not that clear, and that's my fault sometimes. So anyway, bottom line is the audio was completely screwed up. Dave was the only one I had to redo, but it was good because I liked stuff he gave me in the second.
I like how you told me when you told me that story. You're like, yeah, Dave came out like in a robe.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's funny.
Oh yeah, that's
I know. You know what? I wanted funny, and I'm glad Dave, because so much of this movie is kind of I don't want to say somber, but melancholy. It's kind of like bittersweet.
Right.
And so I was appreciative that Dave tried to do funny stuff for the movie, even though I couldn't use as much of that as I wanted to.
Just just have the intro of just me just sitting down just cut.
And then I know, and then there's one person who took us. He didn't want to come out at all. It was Sammy.
Oh, Sam. All right. So is that the one you thought I was gonna say?
No, I was actually trying to
All right. So Sam was one of the ones I had lined up in December. The second he found out you had COVID, this guy disappeared. Yeah. He disappeared.
He went in total lockdown.
And he was gonna come for the interview. He was. And the second he found out you had it and I was around you, and rightfully so, he didn't want to do the interview. And I was like, fine, that's fine, Yeah. But after that, I couldn't get. He didn't even want to do it on Zoom. Yeah. Like I was like, Sam, you're not gonna catch COVID through the computer, man.
He's proficient with Zoom too. That's a weird thing.
Oh my god.
Well, it's funny because like I imagined when Sammy told me like, nah, man, I'm not going out anymore. Like I imagined like like the way Rick shuts down his house. Yeah. With like the metal doors and this. And then that's this time he's like, nope, not going out. I'm not going out at all. And I was like, all right, I understand that, Sammy, but I had to convince him to do it through Zoom. I don't know what that was about. He even bought lights for that specifically. How did that shot come out?
It's not good, man. And then so later Sam finally came out. I think his family got vaccinated. He came out to work at the MC.
Oh, that's right.
And so I could have done another interview, but I was like, you know what? I'm keeping his shitty interview. There's something about it that is Sam, and I want the interviews to reflect the people I interviewed, and I'm like, I'm keeping this. It's funny in a way, so I'm just keeping the Zoom interview.
Well, I'm glad it worked out because I remember we were in the room trying to get.
We were discussing lots of different. We literally said, "What if we make a plexiglass box?"
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And we put the microphone in there with you.
Oh
I'm on the
other.
It was
a fucking giant screen on the.
It was a no on everything. He wouldn't leave the house for a while. He finally did. But rightfully so. I guess he has older parents.
You can't stop people from being themselves in the heat of the moment, especially if it's like
COVID
something like
going on. You can't blame anybody for what's happening now. Sure. But his was the last one I got because I was just waiting, and finally you helped me talk him into it.
Damn.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah.
It was a little weird doing it on Zoom. It was not nothing like in the interviews.
And you can't get a good crisp image from that either. Yeah. I mean, maybe we could have if we had like Zoom Pro. I don't know what Zoom offers, but I know the image we got
premium Zoom
isn't great. But,
Yeah, there were some cool shots. I remember you took like who was the shot you had Dodger Stadium behind? Was that Mike? Yeah, Mike.
Damn, that's a good shot, dude.
That was a
Mike's sort of a comic relief in the movie too. Like I tried to play up you guys' personality, and Mike says funny stuff.
I don't remember what I said.
There's no amplification needed.
Well, at the beginning of the podcast, Mike was like a fucking drop machine. Like he had like so many drops that we would pull from him. It was like strawberry Cool Ranch one.
That's right. Yeah.
He's got the first gag in the trailer. He's got the first gag in the movie. So
awesome. Let's watch this shit.
Yeah.
Whoa. How far is this podcast?
How long we got? How long are we going in?
Oh shit.
Okay, yeah, we should. I mean, what else you got?
Well, speaking of interviews, while we are, I did want to speak of Cali's Most Wanted. Because this was one. Okay, so most people I interview them. Some people had more words than Mike's man a few words. You gave me good answers, but you're short and to the point. Some people would go on and on.
Yeah.
Cali's gave me a whole movie. Like I have a Cali's Most Wanted movie I could make now if I wanted to, and it was great. I'm not making fun of them. Like I would ask Ty I asked everybody some of the same questions. Like, so how did you get your job at the music center? And somebody might say like, oh, somebody put my name in, blah 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 blah. Ty went into this long, nuanced, detailed story about how.
That sounds like
But that's what I was looking for.
So after I slayed that dragon, so I gained access to the music center.
So that's how every answer was, and they went into the reason I'm bringing this up is because man, there's so much Cali's Most Wanted stuff I want to use that I can't use because there's only so much room.
Why don't you bring them up to? Because so we just had the pop up.
Oh, wait, before you get into this, the one other thing I want to say about that interview is I didn't even know what was going on because I'm sitting there shooting, and every 5 minutes a blunt would appear in front of my face. So anyway, go ahead.
No, well, just real quick, even at the pop up, interviewing him, for, his section, dude. I wasn't even planning on interviewing him first, but he just like wandered
dropped
over.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were setting everything, running tests.
Yep.
Dave and I were already in position.
We're ready to go.
Yeah,
that
and
very
then,
second.
yeah, and then he was like talking. He's like, "Yeah, I can't wait for my interview. Like, I love you guys. You know, I'm glad to be back on the show, this and that." And then we kind of just got quiet, and he just kind of stood there like staring. And I was like, "Do you want to just do your interview right now?" He's like, "Hell yeah!" And he just jumped right on.
It was the best.
Dude. And he's so natural.
Yeah.
Like it
He's
was
good.
great. Like I love having.
And they had really smart things to say too. Like Cleve was mostly quiet, but he would come in with just some profound thing every now and then, you know. So I really liked that. Was one of my favorite interviews to do, and they gave me some of the best stuff. So I wanted to say that while
Nice.
we're on the topic.
Damn, you sure
Yeah,
did.
everybody gave me good stuff. Like no lie, there wasn't one person other than maybe Sam. Where I was like,
Oh yeah. We'll rag on Sam more next time.
Well, speaking on that, Kai's was one thing how you brought up the blunt. Like, didn't you say like his whole posse like
So-
was wanted like crashed? You
So
know?
I knew right away that if I tried to control this interview, it wasn't going to happen. That I had to just let whatever was going to happen. Because I sat down, I had the whole shot set up. I got maybe a question or two in with Cleve and Ty, and suddenly the garage door comes open. His whole crew comes in. It must have been 6 dudes, man. And then next thing you know, it's a hot box in there.
Damn.
But you know, they were all talking through the interviews, and I didn't stop anybody because like
Yeah.
I'll never be able to get them to stop. So I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kept going. I just kept going.
Would you ever like direct a music video?
I mean, yeah. You know, there's lots of things I have and would do. Like it really comes down to what I feel.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste time on a project that I'm not really that into, unless I'm getting paid. You know,
Right.
if somebody paid me to do a music interview, yeah, I'd be all. And I have done gigs paid before. Like people have paid me to edit things and shoot things for them. But
Nice.
you know, I'm not a hustler. I wish I was. If I was a hustler, I could probably be way better off than I am.
Huh.
Now, you know.
I mean, that's cool, man. You know, we had a similar experience with Cali's Most Wanted. You know, with speaking of like the hot box, I remember. You know, like I felt high like in that room, and I'm. It sucks that we didn't do video that time.
I know 2 episodes and there's not video.
We
Yeah.
were doing it at my house in my room at that time.
Yeah.
And they asked me if we can do it at my house, and I was like, no, because I had a feeling that they were gonna be
Yeah. So
smoking up like fucking crazy. And we
Yeah.
can't do that at my house.
So we were recording everything at Mike's house, and for that, that first video with Cali Most Wanted. I mean, that first podcast with Cali Most Wanted. Mike was like, "Fuck that! They're not coming to my house." And I was like, what?
I'm not racist.
Yeah, he was
Christ, Mike, you and Sam.
no, but he was
grandma.
like, yeah, he was like,
Hey, mine too, Florida.
he was like, Mike was like, "Fuck that! Like my family, just dude, they can't. Like I can barely. I don't even smoke in my room, and like I know that's gonna be a thing." And so then Rev was finally like, "Fine, we'll do it at my house." Like, he goes, "But I just want you fuckers to know that I got roommates that don't give a fuck about the noise."
Yeah,
like, all right,
no, that's
all right.
true. Remember, a lot of the times we were like, "Hey, trying to record in here."
Dude, there was a funny memory I have where we're recording it. It's just us 3, and we're there at Rev's house, and his roommate comes in, Ryan, dude. He's loud. He has no volume control whatsoever of his voice. It's just one volume and it's loud as shit. And we're there. So he goes and he tells Ryan, "Hey, yo, we're gonna record. Do you mind just lowering your voice?" And then Ryan's like, "Oh yeah, bro, I got you, bro." He's nicest guy. Just can't hear his own voice. And so he's like, "Yeah." So we're good for like 5 minutes. Then Sean shows up. Then
His loud ass.
and
too.
then Ryan's brother's there.
Oh shit.
And now they're all loud and they're laughing. And then Rev's like, we're telling Rev, "Hey, Rev, just tell them to lower it down. Like, they don't have to be quiet. They can just lower it down a little bit." Rev's like, "You guys don't understand. They're not going to fucking listen to me." And then we're like, "Just fucking do it, Rev. Stop being a bitch." He's like, "All right." So he stands. He's like, "I'm going to go. You're right. I'm not going to be a bitch." So he gets up. He walks out. And then we just hear a bunch of laughing. And then he leaves and he comes back and closes the door. And we're like, "What happened?" And he just looks at it. He sits down. He goes, "They told me to go fuck myself."
Oh shit.
So we just started laughing. We're like, "Ah, fuck it." We just recorded it. Yeah, dude. But anyway, yeah. So that's why we didn't have Cali's Most Wanted. But when we were smoking, when they were smoking in that room, man, you could see the smoke in the air. Like,
Yeah.
And I don't
Thick
smoke,
fog.
but I started to
Yeah.
feel like a little.
there may be people who watch this who don't know I smoke weed. I guess it's out of the bag now, but I can smoke a lot and get really high.
Yeah.
These guys,
continue to smoke.
just
It's almost competitive
Like some Snoop Dogg
smoking,
shit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost turned it down once. That's how bad it was.
It's
I
an
almost
Olympic
went,
team.
nah.
Oh my god.
Dude, I remember they showed up and they're like, "We're ready," and they had like 2 bags.
Doobie snacks.
Yeah, they're like big fucking bags. Like,
Jesus.
they look like that trail mix big
Telling
bag.
you,
from Costco.
I'm looking through the lens and I would just see a hand with a smoking thing pass in front of me.
If it was an Olympic sport, they'd be in the U.S. team.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, plug for Cali's Most Wanted, man.
Yeah, hell yeah,
Most
Cali's Most Wanted. We love you, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So, do we want to watch this?
Yeah, let's watch this trailer here.
I remember telling Chris all the time that he needed to start his own like guitar channel on YouTube, and he asked me if I would help him too, like, you know, record him, what do we need to learn, come up with sessions, but nothing came of it. I can't really say how early it was talked. I really don't. I'm a pothead too, like my memory is so fuzzy.
So the idea of a podcast for me came about.
I've got a very specific memory of when the idea may have been birthed inside of Felipe's head. It was, I think, 2013 or 2014.
So at the Disney, the Walt Disney Concert Hall, on the 3rd level, there's a garden, and we would hang out there. So there's tables spread out all over the place. Coworkers would start to walk towards us and gravitate, I guess, towards the energy that was going around, a lot of laughs and stuff.
It was lively, man. It was, I don't know, it was like a party almost, and then we had to go up to work.
And then so I came up with the idea, I was like, man, like if people are enjoying this.
Why couldn't we have recorded that? Why don't you guys have like some kind of setup or a podcast?
Not a lot of people were thinking about doing podcasts. I mean, everybody thinks about doing a podcast, but like actually doing a podcast, that's the tough part.
The first talks about it, it was kind of like, and we could just do this, like the shit that we're talking about, like people will laugh, like it's fucking hilarious, or like, they gotta hear it.
After he mentioned that he wanted to do the podcast and who he wanted to do it with, I just told him to do it and see what happens with it.
There was a few people that I did talk to about it. That was him, Tom Selleck, also you've seen him on the show.
And Ruben, I think.
Felipe did ask me a couple of times.
Oh, Sammy as well was involved.
Sam had actually brought me in as well into a meeting.
Mikey as well.
The very first person was Peter Folk.
And I believe Felipe's brother as well.
But once Chris got involved, he was just all in.
You start a goal, right? We're going to get our microphones together. We're going to get a recording system. We're going to start doing a podcast every Monday night, and we're going to put it out every Wednesday morning for a week, for a year.
Chris, I never really thought much of him. I never really thought I'd hang out with him. He never really talked to me, to be honest.
I feel like up until right before fucking COVID hit, all of the little cliques were coming together because of the Reverend Filo show.
They used to wild out. I never saw like a whole job get together and go crazy and be cool with each other.
Till this day, I think that was like my favorite birthday party I've ever had.
Drive all night just to get back home. Podcast is comedy. You know, we're here. Essentially, we're here to make people laugh. We're here to make each other laugh. You know, and hopes that translates to our audience. All 102 of you.
He really made it happen.
Chris really was kind of like the starting. He kicked the whole thing off in a way that made it like concrete and tangible.
Even back then, like I was like this shit is gonna be dope.
Bridge up ahead, yeah. That because he's got shortness of breath and his constant dance with death, that we might not make it out of Reno.
His beatbox.
Man, That was
something.
Let's round of applause. Rory, you did great, man.
It's all because of the Rev, though, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
the Rev's the star. You know, no matter what we do, you know, he's the star of it. He's the reason that the movie happened. You know?
Yeah, man, and you pulled out some good audio clips from there. You know, that should teared me up, man. It got me. You know, remembering the stuff that he used to tell me, you know, when we were doing this. But I'm glad it's looking good, and that Wrangler, what is it? Wrangler
Well,
film?
Wrangling. So look,
Wrangler.
every time I make a movie, I make up a new production company thing.
Yeah.
I cannot settle on something. I don't like. I'm real uncomfortable with credits, man. I just like the movie to be the movie. I don't like my name plastered all. But Wrangling is kind of my name with
That's
the W
dope.
in front of it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's, like,
It's dope. It really kind of flows with the like mood of like the whole film, like.
Yeah.
You know, the Wrangling films, and you get the intro with the guitar. Like, it's so good.
It fits so fucking well.
It fits
Yeah.
Rev. That's like Rev. That movie.
He was a rambler.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Well, part of what I'm trying to do is, you know, make something that's in the spirit of the show and in the spirit of Rev, but also my sensibilities come through on it. And I'm more of like a melancholy type of person,
Right.
so that's kind of why the trailer is the way it is.
Well, I mean, you know, also too, you made it look like, you know, the whole. I mean, it's fun. It's fun doing all of this with everybody, with all you guys.
Yeah.
It's fucking fun, but it can be so fucking frustrating at the same time. I like that you were able to show how much fun that we had, you know, like just not with just the clips from the podcast, but also with like the videos that you used from like Instagram and us like, you know, just fucking around and having fun. I'm glad you were able to show that to everybody and just show like why we do this with everyone, you know. Thank you for that, man.
Well, I told you from the beginning that I wasn't going to focus on dark or negative things, you know, that I was going to try to keep it to be fun. And it's hard. It's a challenge. That's been one of the challenges in this movie, because anytime you show Chris, it's like, oh. You know, it's like really, like me and Jenna were watching the trailer last night because I was putting the finishing touches on it last night. And I was like, all right, come see this. And as soon as he comes up and you hear his voice, she just lost it.
Yeah.
And it got to me too, even though I cut it. I was like, what have I done? Like, I don't know if I could show these guys this trailer.
Dude, shit, I almost broke down too.
Yeah.
Man, but, you know, but you did well with like giving that comic relief.
It's a fair balance. I like.
Yeah, dude.
Very good.
So yeah, that was great. I can't wait for the movie now.
Seriously.
I can't praise you enough because it's really well done, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like I was not that I was concerned because I know you know what you're doing.
Right, but you have no idea what's going on in my mind.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm really gonna do.
So my concern was like, damn, how is this not gonna look like just a sad, you know, movie and everyone's trying to move on from this? Like, how is he? You know, in my head, I was like, how is Rory gonna do this? I'm glad I'm not doing it. 'Cause I don't know how I would do it. You know?
Well, one decision I made, I mean, maybe if I shouldn't say this, you can cut this out, but I decided early on not to even say anything about how Chris died. Like, I'm not even going to say it. I mean, I think if you watch the movie, you'll understand what happened, but nobody...
That doesn't matter.
Nobody
That doesn't
explicitly says it, but it matters in that I want to keep the movie a certain tone.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring that kind of thing into it.
Yeah,
Smart.
well, you know, it's good. Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, you know, it doesn't matter how. The fact is that our friend is gone,
Right.
and I'm glad that we're able to still celebrate his life and,
Hell yeah.
and his stuff that he left behind, his legacy, really.
Yep.
I think he even said that in the trailer, right? You know, so man, you guys need to see this movie. Can't wait for it. You know, especially all our friends being in it. You know, was great.
It's still, I mean, I've always underestimated how long it was going to take me. If I probably would have stayed to my original plan, it would be done by now. But I'm looking at another maybe month or two. And the thing that concerns me about that is Felipe is going to be a new dad soon.
Yeah.
He's going to be real busy soon.
Pull out game week, son.
So the movie might be getting done around the same time as that. Yeah. So the movie's going to have competition.
Yeah.
Shit.
Baby versus baby.
Well, you know, his year anniversary is coming up.
Yeah.
That's right.
That too.
Yeah, so
Yep.
you know, there's a lot of things in October. Like crazy as shit too is like my baby's due, and I'm naming him Christopher. You know, and
Nice.
he's
That's a scoop.
He's due. Yeah, that's if nobody knows that. But he's due like around October 16th. So like, everything's gonna kind of like hit around that time. The movie's done. We have, Chris's anniversary. We have the movie. Then I have my new baby coming in. Like it's pretty jam packed.
Yeah.
Last end of the year.
We got events.
Yeah.
And
For real.
like we said earlier in this podcast too. I mean, their
Yeah.
events keep happening for Chris in a way. Like we keep it going, just like he would have wanted. I don't know how long it'll last, but I mean, let's say. I'm planning on putting this in a few small film festivals, like the kind where you might actually have a chance, like small town ones.
Yeah.
It's like I was joking with Filo earlier, like this could have a chance because everything right now is going to be about climate change, BLM, COVID. That's what all the documentaries are going to be.
Yeah.
So, something like this maybe could.
Yeah, it's about people.
Random.
Could get a little
Traction,
more people see Chris, more people hear his music.
Well, yeah, just as important. They see your film work and how you actually portray just like any topic. I mean, as close to heart as this topic is, people could have done about anything else, but you decided to stick to what you know, which is people.
I mean, it became the only thing to do. Like, if I was going to make a movie, there was no other movie to do. Like, I was already working on another documentary, which I'm still working on,
right.
But once I got into the frame of mind of I'm doing this Rev and Filo movie, I mean, I want to be like a freak, but that's kind of all I've been doing. Like, even days I don't work on it, I'm thinking about.
That's dedication.
Thinking about
Yeah,
it.
man.
So.
I mean, like a lot of those clips you pulled, you really had to sit down and watch every single episode.
And I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
watching
insane. It would drive me insane just to go
You're
back
like the
and do that.
LeBron James of watching.
Not of acting.
Yeah, not of acting.
Again,
Of watching podcasts.
there's 50 episodes that Chris was in. Many of them are over an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss anything that he said or that any of you guys said.
Yeah.
So it was important to take a few weeks and sit down and watch every single episode.
Notebook the time stamp. That's fucking dedication, bro. That's
and
great.
then I'm going back through again
Fuck.
because there's stuff I might have missed because towards the end I got a little lazy and I'd skip. They're not talking about anything good, I'd skip a minute or two. But now I'm seeing there's even stuff in those spots that
Within the spots.
So,
Yeah.
It takes 45 seconds to say a really good joke.
Yeah.
Or 40 seconds. 30-second joke.
Is that the average?
Or remarks. remarks.
Yeah, well, man, because I would be tired of us at that point. I'm like, man, fuck these.
I mean,
guys.
he's looking at us like he wants to kill you.
No, my eyes are on the end goal of sitting down and watching this movie with people and people who love Chris.
Hell yeah.
That's
a real audience, right?
That's
there,
what
man.
I want out of this. Like, it's not gonna make money. It's not gonna make me rich. Not that I want to be rich and famous, but
that's just
it's not that kind of movie. But what I would like out of this is when it's done, get as many people together.
Viewing party. Fuck yeah.
Actually, you know what?
Hell yeah.
Maybe you might know this. I was talking to Sammy actually the other day on the phone. He's in Arizona now. Yeah.
Damn.
And he called me and we were talking and he was just hitting me up about the last episode that came out. He was like, man, that was dope. Felt like I was there with you guys, this and that.
Nice.
Anyway, he said that he remembered that Shirley had told him about how funny it was where I thought his dad was a salsa dancing champion, right? Came in second place. Yeah, but it turns out it was his salsa that he makes salsa like
A salsa.
Yeah, so yeah, dude, like literally it happened like this. He told me, my dad's a salsa champion. He got second place, and I was like, damn, that's dope. Never brought up after that. We went to his house for dinner.
Doesn't look like a dancer.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, in my head I was like, damn, I didn't realize he could move like that. So I show up at his house, we're eating dinner. We're at the table, because sometimes I would bring Sammy home before he drove his dad's truck or whatever. And his mom would be like, oh, you want to have some dinner with us? Thank you for bringing him home.
Cha.
So I was like, hell yeah, I'll eat. I've had his dad's food before. He fucking cooks. Fucking good. Really good. Anyway, he made the salsa and he put it on some meat, and he cooked it up and I was eating it. And then so I sit down, I'm like, damn, this is good. And I look over and I see the trophy and it says second place on it. And I look at it and I'm like, hey, that's the trophy your dad won in the dancing competition, right? And they all just started laughing at me. They're like, what? And I was like, oh, dude, I thought he was like a salsa dancer. They're like, no, it's for the salsa you're eating right now. Like, that's what that trophy's for.
Fucking moron. Like, they just yell and belittle you.
Anyway, maybe you could help. I don't know if you ran into that episode or if you remember that. He was trying to find that episode. I don't know, maybe, because he said Shirley hit him up about it. And he was trying to find it. He can't find it.
I'll find it.
Well, it's here now.
I'll find it.
Yeah, it's here now.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
But anyway, Thank you, Rory, for showing that to us. Really.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, man.
But more importantly, thanks for letting me do this, because I knew you didn't have to do this. It was painful probably for you to do it, but I knew enough about you to know that you would understand the vision of it, if anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, even if he doesn't want to do it now, he might come around.
Right.
So I took the risk of pitching it to you. I'm glad you let me do it. And like I said, let's get together and watch this in a couple months. You know?
Hell yeah. All right. Well,
It's
we're
an
going to
honor.
throw up all the information. You still need pictures, right? You still-
Pictures, video, anything to do with Chris, with the MC, with Ushers partying together, Ushers in their MC outfits, anybody who's been on the podcast that took pictures on the podcast, the day of the podcast, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for.
And where can we find you? Like either on social or just
Well,
email
you
me?
can find Filo, you can find Jenna, and I'll leave my email.
Yeah, it'll pop up right there
Put
with you
in,
guys.
Jenna's IG.
Hey,
and
maybe
like
I'll
yours.
start a social
Yeah,
media for
well,
this movie.
Yeah.
You always need it. I mean, it's an industry. You live in LA, baby. You gotta have a connection.
All right, Rory. Well, thank you for coming in,
Yeah,
man. Appreciate
Well,
that.
we need to do it again soon,
Hell yeah.
and sooner or later I'll get on Chris's real dream of shooting an episode.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, that'd be dope. We also need to get in for that Star Wars episode.
Oh, hell yeah,
Juan,
we
we're
got
coming
it.
for you. I know you still
Yeah,
love
my
that,
brother.
We need to do
My
the whole
brother-
thing, start from
I
episode
gotta pay
4
my
and
brother to
just
be on
go
here,
through
dude.
the whole thing.
All right. Thank you guys for watching the show. If you stood this long, thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next week. Everybody say bye.
Bye, everybody.
Go. Number 2. Peace out.
Hell yeah.